Switching to weather,
Yeah.
we will have a wet start to the day tomorrow. So mathematicians, theater kids going to school tomorrow might have a wet start. But we are looking at a brief cool down. We will see a temperature drop late Tuesday into Wednesday, but it's not going to last for very long. Here are our storms tonight, primarily right along the Mississippi-Louisiana line and the northern Florida parishes. Most of our storms have been just below severe criteria over the last, say, hour or so. These storms had been severe as they were moving to the east, have started to weaken a bit, but still, boy, a whole lot of lightning. It's a very heavy rainfall rate, so may see some brief street flooding. No street flood advisory with this now, but wouldn't be surprised to see some low-lying areas, some of the ditches, a few of the low-lying spots where it tend to get some minor flooding within those downpours. Also some kind of toward Varnadone into Pearl River County north of Poplarville. That's where our more active thunderstorm activity is at the moment. This is the frontal boundary, and that's where most of the thunderstorms have been developing so far this evening. Will likely continue into the overnight, but as a cold front finally starts to get a little bit of an upper push, a little support, and starts moving south, we will see more development early tomorrow morning. Right now, some low clouds out over downtown, 75 degrees. The dew point is 73, so our temperatures are not going to be coming down much more than they are at the moment. So a very warm night and early morning, and a very humid day as we start off the morning at least. Dew points, though, in the upper 50s in Macomb, so it won't take long for that drier air to start moving in, kind of watching the temperature, the dew point temperature begin dropping into the lower 60s, 50s. That'll be late in the afternoon and early evening, and a much drier air mass moving in very quickly as that dry air is just to our north. So once the front is south, we should immediately start to feel that drier air moving in. May not be for another few hours that we feel it actually more comfortable, but it won't take much time. Here is the front itself, again, kind of sitting over the area. What's going to push it south is an upper disturbance, and you see that swirl in the upper atmosphere over the Great Plains. This is on the water vapor. It's not much, but it's enough of a forcing mechanism in the atmosphere to push that front south as we head into midday, early afternoon on Tuesday. We'll see kind of a brief warming trend after that, but then it looks like another upper disturbance by Saturday, maybe bringing in another front for the second half of the weekend. The first front, however, for tomorrow, it's going to sit to our north overnight tonight. Doesn't really get that upper support until early tomorrow morning, and with it, we will see that front pass through, likely a better chance for rain with the frontal system. So expecting greater rain coverage to begin the day, probably tapering off after the noon 1 o'clock hour. So for the first half of the day, does look fairly wet. Second half of the day, we should begin drying out. Now, our high resolution model, not perfect for the overnight, as it has way too much activity during the overnight hour. So it may not be too bad for the morning commute, as I think this model is a little too fast with that rainfall moving in. But certainly by the midday and lunchtime hour, we are going to see the rainfall, but then quickly moving out. Both tonight and tomorrow, we have that low end threat for an isolated strong to severe storm. Doesn't look to be very great, and that 80% will be early on. Temperatures coming down briefly for Wednesday, warming back towards Saturday. Another weak front as we head into Sunday.